In a moment packed with symbolism, international tension, and quiet defiance, King Charles III has arrived in Canada, not just to wave at crowds or cut ribbons, but to deliver a loud, clear message in the face of something unthinkable. Donald Trump wants to annex Canada. Yes, really. And this week, the king stepped onto Canadian soil in what many are calling a powerful pushback to Trump's escalating rhetoric. A rare visit with deep historical meaning and political weight. Let's break down what's happening, why it matters, and why this moment may be one of the most important in the modern history of U.S.-Canada relations. The arrival. King Charles III and Queen Camilla landed in Ottawa Monday afternoon, welcomed by Prime Minister Mark Carney, his wife Diana Fox-Carney, Canada's Governor-General Mary Simon, and other dignitaries. It's a short, 2-day visit, but it carries the kind of weight you can't measure in minutes. Canada rolled out the red carpet. Members of the Royal Canadian Mounted Police stood at attention. The Canadian Armed Forces lined the runway. And in the background, something unspoken. This visit is about more than tradition. This is about sovereignty. Why it's historic. On Tuesday, King Charles will deliver Canada's speech from the throne, a ceremonial address that opens a new session of Parliament and lays out the government's agenda. Now, normally, this speech is read by the Governor-General, the monarch's representative in Canada. The last time a British monarch gave the throne speech in Canada personally, that was Queen Elizabeth II back in 1977. So this isn't business as usual. This is rare, almost unprecedented, and it's happening now for a reason. The Trump factor. So why now? Why is King Charles personally stepping in to give the speech? Because behind closed doors and increasingly in public, Donald Trump has been floating the idea of absorbing Canada, turning America's peaceful northern neighbor into the 51st U.S. state. And he's not joking. Multiple sources, including Canada's own public broadcaster, the CBC, report that Trump has been serious about it. At a private meeting, former Prime Minister Justin Trudeau warned business and labor leaders that Trump sees taking over Canada as a way to grab its vast mineral wealth, a plan that could be disguised as trade, but ultimately rooted in expansion. And Trump's own words make it hard to deny. In a recent interview, he called the U.S.-Canada border artificial. In a meeting with Prime Minister Carney, he described a merger between the two nations as a wonderful marriage that would bring tremendous benefits, not just to the U.S., but for Canadians too. But Canadians aren't buying it. Mark Carney's reply was blunt and direct. Canada won't be for sale. Ever. Economic warfare begins. Still, Trump hasn't backed down. Instead, he's weaponized trade. In recent weeks, his administration has slapped new tariffs on Canadian goods, steel, lumber, dairy, tech, prompting Canada to retaliate with levies of its own. Experts see this as part of a larger pressure campaign. And in the middle of it all, King Charles arrives, standing as a symbol of continuity and independence, exactly when Canada needs it, a symbolic response to a real threat. As King Charles addressed Parliament, political observers couldn't help but notice the larger narrative playing out. This wasn't just a royal formality. This was a monarch reminding the world that Canada is a sovereign country, that its democratic institutions, its culture, its values are not up for grabs. Political scientist Jared Wesley put it plainly. The explicit threats to Canada's sovereignty probably got the attention of the king and his advisors. And according to Elizabeth McCallion, professor at the University of Toronto, the visit is a rallying together Canadians, a subtle but powerful declaration that Canada stands on its own, balancing the crown and the crisis. It's worth noting the unique position the king finds himself in. He is the head of state for both Canada and the United Kingdom, and while the UK seeks a closer trade relationship with Trump, Canada is trying to fend itself from that very same administration. In fact, earlier this year, Carney criticized the UK government for inviting Trump to a state visit, reportedly with a letter of invitation signed by King Charles himself. That move did not go over well in Canada, and many believe this trip is the king's way of rebalancing the scales. He's making it clear Canada matters, a moment for Canadians to unite. As King Charles stood beside his wife, Queen Camilla, who wore the iconic diamond maple leaf brooch passed down from Queen Elizabeth II, the message was hard to miss. Canada is proud. Canada is strong. And Canada is not alone. In this uncertain moment, with Trump testing diplomatic boundaries and economic ones too, the royal visit served as more than just pomp and ceremony. It was a warning, a reminder, and, for many Canadians, a moment to rally. Closing. So what comes next? Will Trump escalate his rhetoric? Will King Charles speak more directly about sovereignty in the days ahead? And most importantly, will Canada, in the face of rising pressure, continue to stand its ground? For now, one thing is certain. The eyes of the world are on Ottawa, and King Charles has made it clear he's watching too.